Hey guys, what is up? I am TitoTheOG, and today I'm here to talk about 3D printers, but not just any 3D printers. The Anycubic Photon Mono M7. And I just want to say this thing is amazing in so many different ways. Now, I just want to preface this saying that I am kind of a amateur resin 3D printer. I am not someone that kind of goes into resin printing knowing the exact measurements of everything or knowing the exact speeds of all of the retract speed and all that stuff. I kind of just do it as a hobby and something that I like doing in my off time. And as someone who isn't very, extremely knowledgeable as some of the other creators in the scene, I've had nothing but great things to say about this printer. And I'm able to get it working flawlessly and get it to do everything that I want to do very easily.
Now I want to start this off by talking about what everyone would experience first when opening this baby. The packaging experience. The way this printer was packaged was very, very nice, and I felt like it was bundled up in there with a lot of love from Anycubic themselves. And the presentation of it is just very nice. It has a nice sleek gray design, and it just looks very modern. It's so simple, and I love it. And it even came with this little styrofoam smiley face. Now, setting it up was very easy. As soon as I plugged it in and powered it on, it gave me a little tutorial and just gave me step-by-step process on how to set it up, and it was just like 4 simple steps that as soon as it was done, I was able to start printing. It also came with a bottle of resin to use, which is what I did some of my first test prints with. I really like the user interface as well. I feel like it's really easy to navigate, and the touchscreen on it is pretty big, so you can see everything on there very clearly, and there's a lot of space to tap areas you really need to tap.
This printer is made to be very user-friendly, and that is seen as soon as I opened it out of the box. I plugged in the USB that comes with preloaded with some files, as well as the Anycubic Workshop Slicer, and I printed one of the test prints, and it came out flawlessly first try. You can see here how smooth the details look. It looks amazing, and it printed in roughly an hour. That's some amazing detail for that amount of time. The Photon Mono M7 prints in full 14K quality. This means I was able to print anything that had any sort of intricate details and have those details remain intact in the final product. Now, you guys know I primarily 3D print action figures, Sonic the Hedgehog related items. So I kind of wanted to do something a little different to showcase this printer, and I 3D printed this statue, this Sonic Rumble themed statue. And I think it's very cool putting to test this new resin 3D printer and printing something that I am really passionate about. So I was able to print this thing out super fast, and that's something that this printer is very good at. Something that I'm usually able to print out on another printer in about 2 hours, I was able to do on this printer in about an hour, which is awesome for people that really are on a time crunch and need to get things done. The Anycubic Photon Mono M7 cuts the time of anything I really need to print in half, so I'm able to crank out some items really, really fast.
There is one thing I wanted to mention about these crazy fast print times is that in order to achieve these fast times, you have to increase the layer thickness. So typically I print at around 0.05 millimeters a layer, and in order to cut it in half, you have to print at 0.1 millimeters, which makes the layers double the thickness, but like I said, you do get increased time. So it's up to you if you really prefer sacrificing layer thickness to achieve faster print times, or if you want thinner layers and longer print times.
One thing that I absolutely love about this printer is I'm a big fan of large format printers compared to smaller format printers. So I love being able to fit so many items on a single build plate. It's very convenient for me. And I know for people who like to print miniatures, it's also could be very helpful to them because they can put so many miniatures on a single build plate. It's super helpful. And not only that, I really love how deep this resin vat goes on this printer. Compared to some of my other printers, I feel like this one kind of lasts the longest in terms of needing to refill it with resin. Anycubic has their own mobile app where you can connect to your printer via Wi-Fi. As long as it's on the same network as you, you'll be able to connect to it. And you can send prints remotely from your computer, from my cell phone even. If I happen to have a slice file on my phone, I can send it there and start printing. I could monitor the print status, making sure everything is running smoothly. If it stops, it'll tell me. If it's running low on resin, it'll tell me. And it's super helpful because the times when I'm out away from home and I get a notification saying that it's low on resin, I can stop the print, or if there's some sort of failure detected, I know ahead of time so I can go and clean that up ASAP. I kind of wish other companies would follow suit and make their own mobile app, because this is one of the most convenient things that I have at the moment. And I have really enjoyed my time on this app, specifically monitoring and canceling prints, as funny as it sounds. Now, using Anycubic's Photon workshop slicer, it was a little bit of a new experience for me because I've never used their slicer before. I'm so used to other slicers that going into this one was a little bit of a change, but I honestly picked up on it very fast, and there are a lot of features on it that I quite prefer over other slicers. I really like how their support system works. I feel like I'm able to place supports a lot faster compared to other programs because I can select which viewpoints I want to see, so that way all these supports aren't getting in the way. And I feel like there are small little things like that that make the workflow a lot faster for me. And since it is Anycubic, if you're using any Anycubic related resins, they have preset settings for those resins on the slicer itself. So you can go to the slicer, select the resin you're using, and then it'll have preset settings. You might need to tweak them a little bit, but from what I've seen, what I've tried, they work.
Now, there is one issue I kind of wanted to talk about that I wasn't really a big fan of, and that is Anycubic's RERF testing. Now, RERF is Anycubic's Resin Exposure Range Finder, which allows you to fine-tune your resin and print it in 8 different quadrants on your build plate, each varying with an increment of 0.25 seconds of exposure to find out which is the best exposure for your prints. The way this is done on this machine is a little confusing because you have to use the file that is on the USB that is provided. So do not remove that file. And in order to do any sorts of exposure tests, you must edit that file in the Photon workshop, and you can replace it with any models you want. But you have to make sure it is named the exact same thing in order to get this to work. I do hope in the future that Anycubic does their exposure tests the way other companies do it, where it is implemented in the printer itself, and it just makes it a much easier experience and much faster way of doing this sort of thing.
I think this is an awesome printer for anyone who is looking to get into 3D printing and wants a large format printer. It's great for, cosplay props, great for building scenes for your action figures, and printing action figure parts in bulk. And there's just so many different things you can do with a resin printer that I feel like I'm barely scratching the surface here printing toys.
And if you guys are interested in the Anycubic Photon Mono M7 or any of Anycubic's other printers or accessories, head on down to the link in the description below where you can find the Photon M7 for $299, which is an amazing price for everything you get in this printer. And I also do recommend getting their ABS-like resin, which is my go-to resin every single time I print something.
Now that is all for this video reviewing the Anycubic Photon M7, which, like I said, it's a great printer. You get an amazing build volume, amazing quality prints, 14K, can't really beat that. And you just have some insanely fast print times that I think anyone of any hobby can enjoy. I am TitoTheOG, and I will see you guys next time.